Hey guys, I'm Fran, I'm from Venezuela, and today we're going to be watching a video called USA versus Europe, Guide to Cultural Differences. Things obviously are pretty different between USA and Europe. I think it could be quite a culture shock if you're expecting things to be like a lot more similar. And so it makes me curious to see what sort of differences this video will highlight, because I know that tourists can be very upset about certain things if you're not from both sides, if you're not like quite expecting things to be like that different. So let's check it out, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. So let's hit play.
Hey there, we are guides from Prague, Czech Republic, and this is one of our favorite pubs. But somebody just recently left a nasty review complaining about the fact that the waiter simply asked them, "You want a beer?" The waiter brought the beer, and then once the person was finished, they brought another beer, and this guy was complaining about it. What is he talking about? That's the best thing. Once you're finished with your beer, they bring another one.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, because if I didn't ask for another one, why are you bringing me something? Like, I didn't ask for a second one, why are you refilling my beer?
So for me, from the perspective of a Czech European, that's a good sign. For an American, that may be kind of weird or rude.
Not rude,
so today
but
we want
weird.
to talk about cultural differences between our country, our city, and United States of America.
But I have to say, like, great, like if you're looking to drink and you don't have to ask for another one, like, great, I didn't have to ask for it and they just refilled it right up, like, great.
First of all, you may be surprised what the beer looks like. Well, we have a video dedicated only
like
to
a
that.
coffee
And
cup.
second, when I walked in, I didn't look at a beer menu or something that may be quite common in the United States, where you have different beers on tap. Most pubs and restaurants in Czech Republic will have one brewery on tap in the pub. So that's why you can walk in and
That's
just
weird.
say, "I'll have one."
One
So I
way.
kind of like that. You walk into a pub and you don't have million choices. You
No,
just
that's weird, because I've never been in a place where I just say, like, give me a beer. They're gonna ask you, like, okay, like, what kind? I've never been in a place where it's just like beer in general. They're gonna ask you, of course, like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? It's weird that there's only one. I've never been to a place like that.
just say one. In US, not only you have a choice of beers that are on tap, quite
course.
often there's 5, 10, 20, but also they will ask you, do you want draft or bottle? What kind of question is that? The reason you
weird, but
go
some
to
people,
a
yeah.
pub is to get beer on tap,
Yeah.
to get draft beer. If you want bottled beer,
necessarily.
you go to a supermarket. So for us, that's a big cultural difference that quite often we don't understand. Now, a beer here costs 55 crowns. Let's call that $2.50.
That's
to round
incredibly
it up.
cheap.
If you go to a stadium, to a sports event here in Prague, it's going to cost around $3. Well, nothing like
It's definitely cheap, because if the sports events and events in general, they're gonna like raise the price up by a lot, because they know that, you know, there's only like one or two places where you can actually like get beer, and they sort of take advantage of that. So, you know, I'm surprised that it's actually like that cheap, because I've never, I think that's unheard of. Like, that's really, really cheap.
that in US. If you go to a pub, it may cost $5, $6, and you go to a stadium, and it can cost
more.
$10, $15, even $20. Honza
Insane.
hates it. Whenever he goes to a sports event, he's always shocked with the price of the beer. I myself, when I travel to US, I usually don't go to sports events, but I like amusement parks. And just recently, I visited Universal Studios. It was the most expensive beer I ever had in my life. $15. I could not believe it.
I simply wouldn't. I wouldn't really, I don't think I have it in me to spend $15 on one beer. I can't. Like, that's crazy.
Now, I understand that going to amusement park, you don't go there for beer,
For
you
beer,
go there
yeah,
for the
it's
rides,
weird.
but still $15?
It's insane.
Dude, it was insane.
Yeah, I agree.
Why did I do that?
I don't really
also,
need
fun
that
fact,
beer.
I did
Never
not
mind.
take a picture of the beer, but I did take a picture of the receipt. Now, the price of the beer, as I said at the amusement
It was
park,
actually 16, taking into account like taxes. So it's even more.
was $15, but I was asked to pay more than $16. Why? It said 15. Well,
Taxes.
tax was not included. What is this about? We go to a place, and I'm not only talking restaurants, but any store, shop, and the price tag is the final price you pay. It says 55 here, it's gonna cost 55. They include the tax. Why don't you do that in US?
I agree. I think there's places, not only the US, I think there's a lot of places that don't really include tax. And I agree. You have to like, the price is the price. I don't think that you should like pay more for taxes. Just include the tax in the final price. Don't make me like do math. Like that's crazy.
It's just sad.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine me, I'm 11 years old, I have my first dollar ever, and I walk into a dollar store, looking forward to buy something for $1. I pick up the item, go to the register.
No.
$1.50. What? It's a dollar store, everything costs $1, not dollar store plus tax.
And actually, like dollar stores, I don't think they're a dollar anymore. I think they're more like $2 or $1.50, and that's without taxes.
And you will get a
because it's undrinkable, so that you have to like ask for bottled water.
tiny little bottle of water that you will pay for $2, $3, $4. It's ridiculous. I know a restaurant where I go to, and I will always say, "Can I get tap water?" They're like,
"Is water undrinkable in the Czech Republic?" I don't know.
Why did we cut to here? Where we are here to thanks to our partner, which is Surfshark VPN. We're actually on the border with Germany, also many culture differences between them and us. But if you don't want any differences while traveling, but mainly while surfing the web, you can use Surfshark VPN because those differences will be gone. Let's say that you're traveling between US and Czech Republic and you like to watch some films that are only available in US, and you come to Czech Republic and those films may be gone. Well, you can open Surfshark VPN completely for free. The link is below the video in the description. And now let's cut from the border with Germany to the pub where I'm describing the differences between US and Czech Republic.
Now let's talk about service in restaurants and pubs, because that may be a bit of a shock for you when you come to Prague. Yes, quite often it is rude and not polite at all. That's also a huge difference for us when we go to US, and a waitress will come to our table and she will introduce herself and she will smile, and she will maybe recommend something from the menu. That would never happen here. I mean, it's changing, don't get me wrong. Service is getting better. But if you go to like a local place, a dive bar, which I would consider this place to be, quite often they'd be grumpy.
Okay,
and it takes a long time.
Why are people grumpy? I think it's the minimum. Like, people should be nice to each other, I think, in general.
For them to get to know you, and after maybe a 20th visit, they will share a little smile with you. Not like in US. First time visitor, oh, I love seeing.
I think we have to find like a medium ground, because you can't be like that fake happy, but you also can't be like that grumpy that it makes me feel like, I'm sorry for asking you for something, server. Like, what's your name? It's weird. Like, can you give me a beer, I don't know, a plate of fries? And people are gonna be like rolling their eyes. Please, no. But you know, medium ground. I think it's nice.
Welcoming you to our restaurant. My name is Wendy. Can I take your order? Hi, Wendy. Speaking of Wendy, when I was first called darling or honey in a restaurant in US, I was like, she really loves me. She just called me darling.
She loves me.
I like that. I mean, I like the bartender here, but he never calls me darling. Let's
yeah, and don't get any ideas. Like, they
okay?
call everyone honey or darling. Guys. Like, that doesn't mean that they actually like you, or they want like it's something weird happening. They want to flirt with you. No, it's just the norm.
The two of us consider the service at places in the United States very good and very nice and very polite. There is one thing that we consider to be very rude, and that is you're finishing your meal, or maybe you're halfway through, and suddenly a bill lands on your table. What is that? Are you kicking me out? That would never happen here. Any business, restaurant, pub, coffee place tries to keep you in the place as long as possible.
In order for you to
You're done
more.
with your meal, they'll offer you a dessert. You're done with your dessert, they will offer you coffee. You're done with your coffee, maybe you want to start over and have another appetizer. In other words, they want to keep you in as long as possible. You have to ask for the bill. In US, very often, you're halfway through, here's your bill. I'm like, well, maybe I want another something. No, the bill is already on the table. Just weird. Speaking of the bill.
It's funny because the Europeans, like going back by this video, it's like, oh, they're much ruder, but they're actually the ones they're like, no, come on, here, like, you can stay here, and the Americans are like the ones kicking you out, like, okay, you need to go, here's your bill, pay and go.
Let's dive into tipping, and that can create some big issues because that's a big cultural difference.
Yes.
In US, quite often we get asked, do you want to tip 15, 18, 20, 25%? which for us is like, whoa, that's a lot. A quarter of the bill just tips, because it's a tip-based country or tip-based business. In Czech, that used to be very, very different. I mean, my dad would only round up the bill to the next higher number. If the bill was 99, he would round it up to 100.
Yeah.
I believe most of our dads and mothers still do that. Nowadays, it's changing even here, and tipping goes from 10% higher if you're satisfied with the service. If the service is really bad, some people will simply not tip. If that would happen in the US, that you would not leave a single cent on a tip, I've experienced people running out the restaurant and be like, what happened? What did we do wrong? Like, why did you not tip?
Yeah.
So tipping is very, very different, and I'm curious what you will say about.
Yeah, I think it's I can understand like both sides, but definitely I think it's better if the tip is already included in the final price. Again, like they just pay the waiters like a living wage, and so they don't have to rely on tips. I think so. That's basically, that should be the norm.
About that in the comments. Whatever country you're from, I want to read what's the average tipping in your country.
Yeah.
Now this
and also
difference,
it's very like you look bad, especially when you have to like add and the waiter is like, hey, you want a tip? And then you have like the percentages, and when you're like, no, I don't want a tip, and the person's there like, okay, so I'm guessing I'm not getting anything. You can be a little bit weird, and it's obviously a little bit I don't know, like you feel bad. Like, I'm not tipping you. Like, I'm telling you right to your face. No, I'm not tipping you. Like, that's bad.
It's not only huge, but I consider it to be evil. And that is packaging and garbage in general. I'm not talking about if you go to a place where it's a takeout or you go to a fast food. Yes, they put it in a paper bag, either if you're in US or here. But I'm talking about if you go to a restaurant and they create so much garbage, so much waste, even though you're at a restaurant. Quick example.
Yeah.
Mostly if you get a drink at a bar in the
general.
US, they put a napkin under it, so it soaks the moist that's running under it. Well, that's for one use only. Afterwards, they will throw away the napkin.
Yeah, just put a coaster.
How about they use coasters?
Yeah.
Because you can reuse the coaster. And that's just one very simple example. Another one is...
it's very wasteful, I think. But again, we should all strive towards a less wasteful life, like in general.
If you order a ketchup at this place, they will bring it, either a bottle, some places in the US do that too, or they put it in a ceramic cup that they clean afterwards. Not that they grab 20 ketchups and throw them next to your burger.
Yeah.
Or even in McDonald's in Czech Republic, you pay for every single tiny packaging of any sauce, any ketchup. So you think about if you want one or two. In US, can I get some?
Yeah, because it's extra, so you really have to think about, do I really need like 2 packets of ketchup and mustard?
Ketchup, here you go, here's 1,000,000 ketchups in tiny little bags. No, don't do that. I mean, you guys are going all Michael Bay packaging, like, hey, yeah, that's a plastic bag, let's put it in a paper bag, and let's put more packaging and pack it up. You want it to go? Yeah, let's pack it up more.
It's true, it's a lot of waste.
Whew. Meanwhile, in Europe, let's get rid of plastic straws. They really destroy the universe. There's gonna be one hell of a discussion under this video. I absolutely love you guys from US, and I love going to US, just so you know. We both do. Please don't cancel my ESTA. Now let's drop the beer for a minute, and let's talk about coffee and coffee culture differences between USA and Europe. Triggered already? Well, you'll get triggered more. Yes, in Europe, we do not consider this to be
That's not coffee.
Of coffee. That's a gallon of coffee. If it's more than a gallon, it's not coffee. This
and the sugar,
is
like the amount of sugar, obviously, like that's like a coffee-based drink. That's not coffee.
Coffee. By the way, shocker, they have a cup of coffee in this pup. It's served in a ceramic cup. It's this size. You have a plate under it. It makes that little noise when you put it down. You sometimes even get a spoon with it, so you can mix your little espresso.
Okay, I get this, but you also have to like have coffee to go, I'm guessing. Like you can have your coffee to go in Europe.
You drink it, not a gallon. Doesn't fit in your car, so you can drive and sip on your little coffee soup throughout the day. Big difference, big shocker for us when we go to places in US and they simply don't serve something like this. Hold your horses. I know that coffee culture in US is changing.
No, and it's not that it's changing, but it depends on the place it depends on where you're buying your coffee from, because obviously if you're getting like to go or something, but and not Starbucks, but other places, you can get your cup of coffee in an actual cup of coffee. Like there's coffee places, there's coffee shops.
depending on which state you live in, if you live in a city, and so on.
Yeah.
But still, mostly people think this is coffee.
It's not a
and
dictatorship.
You cannot get this.
You can't.
It's sad for
You
us
can't.
Europeans. Can I get a cup of coffee? You want venti grande, grande XL, grande XXXXL?
What I'm curious to see is like, is Starbucks, like, can you get Starbucks there, or other sort of like sugar coffee based drink in Europe? I don't know how common it is actually.
Like the Italians drink it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Now this next cultural difference may sound weird,
I love the
but I
fact that the
believe it
beer
should
is like
be
halfway
addressed.
done.
And that is restrooms and toilet sizes in restaurants and pubs. And I'm not talking about the actual seat size, but I'm talking about
Hopefully not.
you have a big pub and there's one toilet. There's like one restroom for the entire pub where there's like hundreds of people. And
You have to like you have to line up. That's what he's
the
getting
stalls where you can like sit to do number 2 are very like see-through. Like there's no privacy. Like there's no door at the bottom. Like if somebody peeks, they can see you. Yeah, it's kind of strange. And girls talk about that a lot. Both our girls talk about it, how like it's kind of weird that people can't really see you. So that's a big difference. If there's a big pub here, it has many restrooms, many toilets, and
Yeah,
it
that's
can,
well, better, obviously.
do the business people need and accommodate many people at the same time. And of course, the ones we mentioned are not the only cultural differences between our continents. There's many more. We can talk about different units. We can talk about different forms of
Metric system all the way.
transportation, how we move around cities and countries, how big are our cars and your cars, and many more topics. So let us know in the comments if you want us to cover more topics. And while you're there,
Yeah.
please don't be mad at us. This was not made to
No, it's-
insult
yeah,
you,
it's-
only to give you perspectives
It's perspective,
on our culture habits and your cultural habits that we experience when we go over to your lovely continent that we love to visit. But sometimes we're just like, huh, that's weird. We're the honest dudes from Prague. That dude's name is Honza. My name is Janek. We go by The Honest Guide, our channel
I love the fact
full
that
of
the beer-
content. So if
they
you're
already
planning
finished
to
the
come to
beer.
Prague, Europe, check out our videos. We do scams, we show you beers, we show you restaurants, coffee places, and cultural differences. I'll see you next week, Sunday.
And he's gonna finish the beer. Love it.
And a Czech word at the end, I'm going to teach you, we always teach Czech words, is how to say cultural differences. Kulturní rozdíly.
Oh my God, I
Kulturní
could never
rozdíly,
pronounce that
cultural
word in a
differences.
million years.
Or if you want to say one cultural
Well,
difference, it's
maybe in a million
kulturní
years, but
rozdíl.
yeah.
Rozdíl
Kulturní-
difference,
kulturál
kulturní
rozdíl.
cultural.
Yeah, this was great. Definitely there are some, obviously there's some, you know, there's some differences. But I think what surprised me the most, well, I don't know, I think the coffee thing, like, it really does depend. But I have to say, like, those beers, like, really do look like coffee cups. It makes me laugh. But I do think that ideally you should definitely have a better, just have a balance. I think the perfect sort of, I want to say like country or continent, but I think that the way to go would be to like take some things, the good things are from one place and the good things from another place, and like have that medium. I think that would be perfect. For instance, like the bathrooms, they have to be bigger, but things should be cheaper. They should include taxes. People should be nicer and friendlier in general. So just, like find a balance. That was it for today. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I'll see you soon. Bye.